Hey everybody, welcome to the Bones Collector, and today finally we're going to do our last video in the Ultimate Top 100 Board Games series. I'm glad to have done this series. I have enjoyed it immensely, and I hope you have too, and I hope you have checked out the other videos, because I know it's just an inclination of people to watch the video that's the top 10, 1 through 10, but I want to tell you, game number 100 in my top 100, Mercator, I love that game just as much as I love the ones I'm going to tell you about today. So go back if you haven't already and watch all those videos, because there's some amazing games in there. Those are just 100 games, just 100. I think there's 70 or 80,000 board games registered on Board Game Geek, something astronomical anyway, some huge number. So that's just 100 games out of all those games. So all of them are magnificent in my opinion. We've played them and played them. They do play well at the 2-player count unless I told you otherwise. And we really enjoy them. And I feel good about telling you about those 100 games, because if you decide that that looks interesting to you and you want to go out and pick that game up, you'll love it. I just feel like those games that I presented to you have the replayability and the staying power that you'll just play them for the rest of your life if you keep them. So I wanted to ask you to do that. And then also I have a couple of games I played recently, and recently I mean in the last few months, that have a chance to crack the top 100 next year. And I have to think long and hard about it, because I love those games in my top 100. And so it's going to be very difficult to knock any of them out of that list. But I've played these over the last couple of months, and they are magnificent, I want to tell you. The first one I want to tell you about is Icky, and I did Icky. I did a video, separate video about this reprint. This came out in 2015. I had never played it, and it was a small print run, so I never could get my hands on it anyways. But they did a new reprint of it, and they did a magnificent job in production. Again, watch my other video, because I talk about the chunky wooden figures. They're screen printed, and the art on the cards is colorful and beautiful. The game board, everything about this game, production-wise, is amazing. And the game design is magnificent also. So this has a chance to get in there next year. Oh gosh, I just don't know what I would take out, but I love this game, Icky. And then also I want to tell you about this game, Pergamon. Pergamon is 10 years old. And I had watched it played a couple of times on YouTube, and I knew that I would like this game. And it was difficult to come by a copy, and they're a little bit expensive, but they've announced that I don't know if they've done the reprint. The reprint's already done. I mean, you can pick this up probably inexpensively like I did. I found a fellow that was willing to part with this on Board Game Geek for $15. And man, I tell you, I'm so thankful he did that. It was a blessing to me, because I picked this game up and played it, and I loved it just as much as I thought I would. And in this game, you are archaeologists trying to gather funding to go to a dig site and excavate, put together some rare treasures that are valued by their age. You put together an exhibition and put your marker in the museum, and all of this that goes on in this game, the decisions are very difficult. It is a pretty crunchy game for this little box. This box is about the size of a Carcassonne or something like that. But Pergamon by Stefan Dorr and Ralph Zerlinde. And I didn't mention, but Icky is by Kuda Yamada. And I had never heard of Kuda Yamada, but man, he's got a good game there. But Pergamon is by Stefan Dorr and Ralph Zerlinde, who also did Milestones, which is in my top 100. So this game is just as good as Milestones. I love this game. The decisions, again, are very difficult. And I wanted to tell you about these two games before we got into the list today, because they have a chance to get into that top 100 next year. They have all the elements that I'm looking for when I think about a game that I will play for the rest of my life, and that's two of them right there. Okay, without further yakking about things that you don't care about, I'm going to start this list of my top 10 games of all time. Oh man, I tell you, this is going to be amazing. And let's see, number 10. There it is. Number 10 is a game that came out in 2019 by Trevor Benjamin and Brett Gilbert, and it's called Mandala. But this is a 2-player only game. It's an abstract strategy game of card drafting and area majority and set collection. And I'm going to show you inside this box, because here's what makes this game amazing. Is simply a deck of cards. This huge stack of cards, and there's 6 different suits in here. You can see these black ones and that red one, and there's like an orange one with a design in it. And you can tell them apart. There's purple, green one, 6 different suits in here. Yellow, and I think that's all of them. But you simply have that deck of cards sitting by the linen board. I wish more board game publishers would do this. I love this. This is the linen board you're going to use in this game. And I just want to show it to you and explain the game a little bit and why it's in my top 10 of all time, because it's incredible. It's an incredible design. And this is the mandala. And in the mandala, you're simply going to take cards. You have a hand of cards, and you start out with 6 each. And then the mandalas themselves start out with 2 cards each. That in the center is called the mountain, and the outsides are called the fields. And then this player part that you're going to use as a competitor is going to be the river. And you simply want to play cards into the mountain or into the fields. And you can only play cards that aren't there already. In other words, if I wanted to play another purple card, I would have to play it inside the mountain. I couldn't put it in the fields. In the fields gives you the majority, so that when this mandala is destroyed, and that means it has all 6 suits of cards in the mountain and the fields. So it has to have all 6 suits present in the mandala, which is the fields plus the mountains. Once all 6 suits are present, that mandala is destroyed, and players choose according to their area majority, whoever has the most in their fields on their side of the board, and they will choose first as to what cards they want, and then the choice happens where you want to put this card in your river. Your river has point totals, point values in each square, 1 through 6, and that's how many points you're going to get for that suit of cards at the end of the game. And this square over here, this last square, is called the cup, and that's where you'll put one of, if you want to score them, you have to have one of those in your cup. So in other words, if I wanted to score these green cards, I have to have one in my cup, and then let's say this was in my number 4 slot, I would get 4 points for every green card in my cup at the end of the game. And the strategy gets so deep. You have to play this game 10 times to understand how deep the strategy is, because it is always looking at your opponent and looking at what they have in their river and what is in the mandalas to make you decide, okay, I'm building this mandala because I have these black cards are worth 3 points, and I have them in the mountain, so I want to expand the mountain in these black cards, so I want to keep playing black cards into the mountain and then try to get the majority in the field so that I can get those black cards, because maybe they're in my 3 spot here in my river, and I want to score as many of those 3-pointers as I can. And what about my opponent? Why are they building in that mandala? Why are they putting those cards in the mountain? I see what they've got in their 3 spot or their 4 spot. I don't want to give those cards to my opponent, because if I give all those green cards to my opponent that's in their 4 slot, they're going to score a ton of points. So I'm going to try and stop them by getting the majority in that mandala. And it just goes on. And then if one of the mandalas is started and your opponent has cards in the fields and those 6 suits appear before you play anything into the fields, you get nothing. And that's happened to me in this game. So you have to be very careful. Again, concentrating on one mandala and the other one grows out of control and you don't get anything out of it, and your opponent will get to choose from those cards that are in the mountain. So, oh my gosh, this game is so amazing. Again, it is just a game that you play over and over. Every time Lori and I get it out, we play it 6, 8, 10 times, because it is so much fun, it is so quick, it is so deep and so wonderful. What a great game by these 2 guys. And I think Brett Gilbert, we looked it up, and he was one of the designers in Elysium, so he has some experience with good board game design. But wow, what a great game this is, you guys. I'm glad to be able to tell you about it. I hope you've played it. If you haven't, I hope you get the opportunity to do so, because again, this is one of those games that just has infinite replayability. You'll play it over and over and over again. It's so much fun to play, and I wish, again, more board game publishers would use these linen mats, because Did you ever buy one of your board games and the publishing company comes out with a neoprene mat for your game where you can't fit it in the box? What a pain in the butt. You have to store an extra box just for the mat that you've purchased. I just really dislike doing that. If you can't fit it in the box, folks, make it out of linen. This thing's gorgeous. It folds up nice and small, and you put it away in the box, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is Mandala. And that is my number 10 game. I'm in love with it. It's a 2-player only game. I will never get rid of this game. I'm going to play this game the rest of my life till they put me in my grave. Mandala. All right, there we go. And number 9 is a game from 2020. Is this my newest game? Yeah, this is the newest game in my top 10. And it is Renature by Kramer and Kiesling. Came out in 2020, 2 to 4 players. Another area majority, area influence tile placement game. It's a little bit different, this game. That's why it's in my top 10. Very unique. It's kind of like tile laying meets chess. So a lot of people may not like that. It has some player interaction in it because you can steal points from each other and take away points from each other by using what they call the naked bushes and trees and so forth. So you'll have bushes and trees in your player color, and then you also have some that are naked. The naked are neutral. And whenever you place one of those, let's say someone has a tree in an area, they will get the points for that area unless you match them by putting one of your player color trees in there or one of your neutral ones. And the neutral one doesn't get you any points, but it does take away the points they would score for that tree. So that's what you have to think about when you're playing this game. And it has animals on beautiful wooden dominoes that you're going to lay on the board and surround areas, get bonus points for areas that you surround because there's bonus point tiles in those areas. And you have to match up on the dominoes, the animals, you know, turtles and so forth. And across the top of the board it has one icon of every type of animal that's in the game. So there's always one animal that's wild, and you can spend a cloud off your player board, which are very valuable, to change what's wild during that round. So that's pretty cool, and that's how you can manipulate some of the things going on in this game. But this is by Kramer and Kiesling. It's a gorgeous game. I love the theme of this game. I love the production of the game. I love the game design. It's unique. It's different, and I love that. I've talked during my videos about things that are unique, like the gear system in Zolkin or the spinning towers in Turia. Things that are different. I like that. I like it when a board game designer sits around and thinks of something that's really unique and different. That is the board. And on the back, I want to show you, if you can still hear me, what the back of the board looks like. There we go. And this is the front of the board. I told you that there'd be one of these animals that's wild on the dominoes tiles that you're going to be playing on the board, and you get, oh man, there's the chunky wooden pieces that you're going to place in here to score and try and get majority in these brown areas, and you have to surround these areas completely in order to score the bonus points for that area, and you have to do it with these big wooden dominoes. Get a whole big bag of these gorgeous wooden dominoes. Oh my gosh, this game is just off the charts. I love this game. The first time I played it, I wasn't sure because I didn't understand what I was doing. And what the strategy is, it's just pretty deep. I mean, you're going to be putting different shapes, and there's different point totals. You have 1, 2, 3, I think 4 different shapes of these wooden pieces that you're going to put in each one of these areas once you surround them and try to get those bonus points. But they're each worth a different point total, so you have to kind of think through that and say, oh, you know, how bad do I want that? Do I want to put one of those little shrubs, or do I want to put a tree in there that's worth more points? But oh my gosh, this game is fantastic. Obviously, I think it is. That's why it's number 9 in my Ultimate Top 100 board games. I just love this game. That's Renature by Kramer and Kiesling. It's different, and it's very tactical. You're going to be laying those tiles down and thinking about where you're going, because the bigger bonus tiles in the areas are down at the bottom of the board. Do I want to stop and surround this small area for 2-point bonus, or I want to go build my tiles all the way down the board and try to get the 6 and 8 point tiles or whatever happens to be down there? And I'm telling you, there's just so much goes in to the tactical planning in this game, and that's why I really, really like it, and that's Renature. Yeah, hope you've played it. If you haven't, oh my gosh, it's, again, what a unique design by Kramer and Kiesling, two of my favorite board game designers. They were littered throughout my Ultimate Top 100, and here they appear again in the top 10. Okay, yes, number 8, yeah, 2013, and here he goes appearing in the top 10, and that's Stefan Feld's Bruges. Oh my gosh, it's 2 to 4 players, came out in 2013. The art is by Michael Manzel, and this is simply a dice rolling and hand management game. You're going to be trying to keep up with the other players in this game, and you do it with a card system. I will show you real quick. There's so much I love about this game. It's quick. I like that. You can play this game in 30 to 45 minutes, 2 players, easily. And yeah, it has a small board. I love that. It's like, I don't know, I'm guessing maybe 16 by 20, something like that. Small board. This is downtown Belgium where all the action takes place. You roll dice and you're going to put them in these squares right here, and those are the values you're going to be dealing with for that particular round. You have 2 of these card containers that'll be sitting by the board. You're going to draw your cards out of there, and these cards are really, really multi-use. And by that I mean super multi-use. On this card alone, it's got a blue border on the back, so I can spend a blue worker and lay this down as a house. And then once I have a house down, I can take this character card and lay it on top of the house, and now that power that's on that character card belongs to me for the rest of the game. So I can do that with this card. So there's 2 things right there. And then at the top, it has a picture of 2 blue workers. Since this is a blue card, I could turn this in and get 2 blue workers. It has a picture of a die there. So the die value of the blue dice that's on the board when we rolled at the beginning of the round, I could get that in money. Or I can get rid of this card and get rid of a threat token. As always in Stefan Feld's games, something's going to create tension in this game, and it's threat tokens. When you roll the dice, anything that's a 5 or a 6, whatever color those dies are that are 5 and 6s, a threat token has to be taken by all players. Once you get 3 of those in one color, you get punished, and it's a bad punishment. So you are definitely thinking about it when you're playing the game. And so it's a push your luck element too. When you get 2 threat tokens of one color and you're not going to take care of that in this round, you're taking a chance, buddy. And I got burned trying to take that chance, but it's pretty cool. Anyways, and then you can turn this card in to put one of the tiles on the canal, try to build up the canal, and oh, the last one is a house. Okay, or a house. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things you can do with this card. 6 things. I love that. This game is amazing. Again, it takes about a half an hour, 45 minutes to play. It's magnificent. I've loved it ever since the first time I played it. They are doing a reprint of this, Queen Games, and it's not out yet, obviously. It was on Kickstarter, and I think it's called Hamburg. I did a video, Hamburg versus Bruges, and I'm not going to get rid of my Bruges, my copy of Bruges. I'm not going to do it because I like this game a lot in its current form. And I do have the expansion in here. There's an expansion that you can acquire. Okay, this expansion is called The City on the Zwin, and it also has components for a 5th player if should you wish to do that. But that's Bruges, and that's Stefan Feld. He's the best board game designer in the world, and a lot of people don't like to admit that, especially a lot of Ameritrashers or what's it called, Amerithrashers or whatever you want to call it. You know, they play the big monster games and everything, but Stefan Feld is the best board game designer in the world. This game is a pure example of what a genius this guy is. I love this game. I love Stefan Feld. He's awesome. Thank you, Stefan, for Bruges. Okay, number 7 is from 2019, same year that Mandala came out. And it is by a fella named Frank West. It's called Isle of Cats, 1 to 4 players. So hey, my solo gamers, this is good for you. It's a fantasy theme where you're using grid coverage on a ship, and card drafting, and tile drafting, and managing a hand of cards. And the hand of cards is really the driving force in this game. That's the thing that you have to think about the hardest when you're playing Isle of Cats, because you're going to draft the cards. You get a hand of, I think you start out with 7 at the beginning of the round, and you're going to choose 2, pass your hand. You know, in this case, I'm always playing with Lori, so I give her my cards, she gives me her cards, and I'm going to look at her cards, pick 2 more, pass them back to her until the cards are all gone. And once the drafting's done, you're still going to have 7 cards. But here's the thing. Do you want to pay for those cards? Because every one of them has a cost on them, and you have to decide, because money's tight in this game, because you also have to buy the cats that you're going to put on your ship. So you have to save enough money to do that function, buying cats. So you ask yourself, how badly do I want these cards? How many do I want, and do I want to pay for them? And sometimes I've kept 1 card, 2 cards, and other times I've kept 4 and paid like 14 fish. That's the currency in this game is fish. And sometimes you just feel like you need to do that. But yeah, crunchy decisions. It's a lovely game. The production is, again, jaw-dropping. It's gorgeous art, as you can tell from the front of the box. And I do this every time I bring out Isle of Cats. This is what a game box is here. This thing is like bulletproof. It is so thick and wonderful. I mean, I wish more board game publishers would make boxes like this. I don't understand why they think they have a really good game and then they put a cheap box around it. It's like a guy that rides a motorcycle buying a $5 helmet. You just don't do that. This is the type of box that you want to put around your game if you think it's any good. And Frank West obviously thought this game was good because he put a great box around it. And I love this game. Lori and I just love it. I think it would be way up there in Lori's list too. It would definitely be in her top 10. Okay, let's take a look inside this box just so I can show you a little bit about the amazing production. This big linen bag, I could actually stuff my clothing in there and run away, and I've been thinking about it lately. But yeah, this is a huge drawback. I mean, look at that. I think I can get both my hands in there. When's the last time you got a board game that you could do that? That's pretty cool. All the cat tiles, let me show you some of the cat tiles, are in here. They're so pretty. And treasure tiles, and you're going to take those once you pay for them and put them on your ship. Look at that bag of wooden cats, and I don't know if that comes enough. This is a Kickstarter thing, so I don't know.
You get small wooden cats. Those are the large wooden cats.
But I mean, a huge deck of discovery cards. Look at that. I don't know how many's in there. I probably should look. But this is the island where the evil Vesh is kind of trying to come and take the kitties, and we're trying to save them by putting them on our boats. And there's one of the ships that's a player ship right there, and you can't see it probably very well on the camera, but there are different rooms on this ship, and they have icons that show you the rooms, and you have to cover those up or it's minus points at the end of the game. There's rats on the ship, you got to cover those up or there's minus points at the end of the game, and it's impossible to do it all, but that's what makes it a lot of fun. And then also there's some treasure maps, and if you cover up that color, let's say this purple one with a purple cat, then you get one of the common treasures, and there's little onesies and twosies that you're going to need to fill in some of that to try to score as many points as you can by covering up a lot of your ship. So yeah, this thing is incredibly produced. I love this game. It's so crunchy. The decisions are so hard. Then you got all these separate lesson cards that you can work into the deck that have common and private goals that you work towards also during the game. So, oh man, there's so much going on. It's just so amazing. We backed this Kickstarter without knowing much about it, and we knew Frank West. We had played City Kings, and then we went ahead and backed this on Kickstarter, and I'm so glad we did because it's incredible. We love playing it. I think we played it the other day for 2 or 3 times, and it's just a wonderful game. And that's Isle of Cats. I wanted to show it to you guys. There, yeah. In this box, man, if I hit this box with my car would lose. There it is, Isle of Cats. That's a great game, man. All right, number 6 came out in 2016 by Francois Gandon, 2 to 4 players, a city building game from Days of Wonder called Quadropolis, folks. Quadropolis, oh my gosh. I've got so many great board games, and I love playing Quadropolis. There's a game currently out for it was out in 2021 called Meadow that uses a similar mechanism. It copied Quadropolis. This was the game that was the first one to employ that. And you simply have architects, and you can see they're shaped like arrows, and you're going to place them around the market board, and that's the row you have to take your tile from, and the value of your architect is the tile you have to take. So if it's the number 3, you got to count down 1, 2, 3. That's the tile you got to take. And then when you're done, you have to take this little plastic pawn called the Urbanist and put it on that space where you took that tile. And that's going to eliminate the row for the next person when they take their turn. And that gives that game such a crunch. And then on your player board or your city board, when you're building those tiles, every color tile has a different way you have to score it. And you're thinking continually. And just like subdivision, things start to shrink because, as you can see, you only have so much space, and you're going to start laying those tiles out. Let's see, these light green tiles, I have to have one in every quadrant, but if I put that in this spot in this quadrant, I'm not going to be able to put my market next to the grocery store or whatever that you have to do to score. But there's just so many things for those tiles, so many unique mechanisms. And one of the tiles, you have to stack them up and in order to score them. And then at the end of the game, if that isn't enough, because you're going to be thinking hard this entire game, at the end of the game you have to have enough people or energy barrels to put on those tiles to activate them so that they score. If you come up short, you don't get to score those tiles. So, oh my gosh, it's so incredible. And then the game, you can ramp it up because it has like an expert side where you can flip it over and it changes the game totally, and it's just amazing. I can't talk about this game enough. This is the best game Days of Wonder ever made, and I have 5 tribes and Yamatai in my top 100. But this game is in the top 10 for a reason. It is incredible. You can play it on easy or play it on hard. Even the easy is hard. But man, it's a great game. Thank you, Francois Gordon, for Quadropolis. Okay, game number 5 is a little card game called Hanamikoji. 2-player only. This game came out in 2013 in Japan. It's by Kota Nakayama. It didn't get picked up in the US, I think, until, oh, I've got it upside down. It didn't get picked up until 2016 by Emperor's 4, and wait, what can I say? It's gaming perfection in a tiny box. You'll never see this in anybody else's top 10. You know why? Because it only costs $15. And that is even more beautiful, you guys. And I hope that you've had a chance to play this game. If you haven't, you need to get it. It is incredible. And it's simply 2 decks of cards, different sizes. This is the deck, the playing deck, and then this deck are the geishas. And the geishas are beautiful. Aren't those cards gorgeous? The art is just amazing. The geishas are going to lay on the table like this. They have value numbers in their corners. 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. And those are their values. The object of this game, there's going to be one of these markers on each geisha. You want that marker to favor you. When you have 4 of those markers favoring you, you've won the game. Or if you have 11 charm points, the charm points are the values that are in the corners of the card. So if I have my disc is favoring me on the 5 and the 4, that's 9, and I get one of the 2s, geishas, that's 11, and I've won the game. Now you get 3 rounds to try to make that happen. And it's just a beautiful game. You have tiles in front of you, 4 each. You'll have 4 tiles in front of you. Each one of them has a different action printed on the front. Okay? You have a deck of cards that sits over here. Your turn is simply going to consist of this. You'll have a hand of cards, of course, but you'll draw a card to add to your hand, and then you'll perform one of these functions. Once you perform that function, you'll turn it over. Each one of these tiles is a different type of action. And I'm going to go through them. This one is to save a card. So if I have a card in my hand that I want to save to the end of the game, I'll put it under here like that. And then turn the tile over to show I've taken that action. And at the end of the game, I'm going to take that card and add it to my tableau. And the next action, number 2, is an action where you destroy 2 cards. Maybe you're looking at how the board's shaking out, how the geishas are shaking out, what you need, what your opponent might be trying to do, and you maybe have some cards in your hand. You say, you know what, I have that favor already towards me, the 4s. The 4s is showing already towards me. I've got 3 4s in my hand right now. There's only 4 4s in the deck. That's how these geishas work. Not only is that their charm points on the cards, that's how many cards of that geisha are in the deck. So there's 2 of those, 2 of those, 2 of those, 3 of those, 3 of those, 4 of those, and 5 of those. So you're going through that math in your head. And you also have to think about when you deal the cards out at the beginning of the round, one of them goes in the box. So you don't have any idea what card is missing out of that deck. So this is trashing 2 cards. Once you do that, you turn it over. This one, action number 3, is you take 3 of the cards out of your hand, lay them on the table. Your opponent chooses 1, you get the other 2. So your opponent's going to take a card out of those 3 and play it on their side, and then the other 2 that are left over, I will play immediately face up on my side. The last action, number 4, is 2 pairs of cards. You'll take 2 pairs of cards, lay them on the table. Your opponent gets to choose one of those pairs, and you're going to take the other one. Once those cards have been chosen by your opponent, they will play them on their tableau. The ones that are left, I'll play on my tableau. And that's how this game is played. It is magnificent. And I guarantee you, you'll be so twisted in your brain as to what to do. You can't believe that this game makes you think that hard. And no matter what you choose to do, by your last action, you'll say, oh, I wish I hadn't done that one. I wish I had done another one first. I wish, oh, what did I do? You know, that kind of thing. But it is great. Just draw a card, take an action, 4 times, round's over. And you just keep doing that for 3 rounds until someone has 4 favor tokens favoring them, or 11 charm points after one of the rounds. So, oh my gosh, you guys, this game is absolutely incredible, and I give it in a place in my top 10 all time because it's a perfect design. Just perfect. When we play this thing together, we both comment how hard it makes you think, and that is something else, man. That's priceless when you can do that with a little game like this. And this is one of these games where, you know, I could see some old couple like me and my wife keeping this in the silverware drawer, and then, you know, at night before you go to bed, you're like, hey, you want to play a couple of rounds of Hanamikoji? That kind of thing. This game is incredible. I hope you all take the opportunity to familiarize yourself with this game. And again, it's perfect in its design. I love that guy. I mean, what's his name again? Nakayama? Yeah, Koda Nakayama. Wow, thank you, Koda, for this game. Yeah, the game is magnificent. It's in my top 10 of all time, my ultimate top 10. There's how many times we played it. Let's see. Yeah, quite a few. Hanamikoji is incredible. My number 5 game of all time, you guys. You get the opportunity to pick up a copy of this game. Again, this is one you'll play for the rest of your life. Hanamikoji, number 5. Number 4 game is from 2008. Matt Laycock in his genius game, Pandemic. I can't say anything about Pandemic that hasn't been said before. It's the only co-op game in my Ultimate Top 100 because, like Hanamikoji, it's a perfect design. This game checks so many boxes, and I could go on all day about it, but the things that I like about it are simply the fact that there's enough in this box to make experienced gamers work hard, and you get the opportunity to invite people who don't play board games into gaming by doing something like this, because in a co-op game everybody's against the game, obviously, and you get to help them take their turn so that they don't feel intimidated or put out by the gaming experience. This vehicle is one that you can, again, bring new people in that don't play board games, and I've done that with people. I've done that with relatives. Hey, let's play Pandemic, because you're there to help them take their turn, because you know, you're all on the same team, and they've never heard of that. Oh, you mean we're all on the same team? Yeah, we're trying to beat the game. We're trying to stop the spread of disease in the world. We're going to save the world tonight in Pandemic. And this game is so relevant right now. I bet it really took off during the whole COVID thing that we're going through. But yeah, and I don't know how many copies of Pandemic have been sold. It's astronomical. By Z-Man Games, Matt Laycock, thank you for this game. It's just absolutely phenomenal and wonderful. And yes, I like it much better than Pandemic Legacy. We did Pandemic Legacy Season 1. Okay, it was good. This is this one you play over and over and over and over and over and over, and you love it more. So yeah. All right, that's Pandemic. That's number 4. Number 3 is, again, Stefan Feld, 2011, Castles of Burgundy. 2 to 4 players, dice rolling, and grid coverage. Depending on the tiles that you lay down, you're going to get rewards for whatever value that tile has attached to it. And the only complaint, of course, about this game is the underproduction. And this is the only time I'll ever probably complain about that. This game was really underproduced by Alea Games and Ravensburger or whatever, and it deserves so much better. There was another print run, and they made the colors brighter and more vibrant, and I don't really think, I don't know, I looked at it and it didn't appeal to me, the new print. I wish they had just taken this game, this box, and just made everything thicker. Yeah, just make it thicker. Player boards, game board, all the little tiles, just make them meaty and thick and wonderful. That's all I was looking for a deluxeified edition. I don't know why they feel the need to redesign anything in a game that is already successful. It's like the guy that changed Coca-Cola back in the 90s to New Coke. Yeah, it wasn't a smart move when you're already number 1. You know, why would you? Yeah, when the game's selling, why would you change anything about it? The art, anything? I don't know. I don't get it. I just I love this game. It's magnificent. It's Steffenfeld's, I don't know, one of his best games. We love it. We play it all the time as Castles of Burgundy. And again, it's a very, very highly rated game all over the world. But yeah, and I love the art on the front of the box anyways, yeah. So yeah, Castles of Burgundy, number 3, Steffenfeld. Number 2, from Stonemaier Games, and it is called Wingspan from 2019. And this is designed by Elizabeth Hargrave, and wow, it's hard to believe this was her first board game that she ever designed. It's, wow, number 2 on my top 100s for 1 to 5 players. It is card drafting, engine building, dice rolling. It's got a bird theme in it. The art on the cards is magnificent. The information on the cards is magnificent. Elizabeth left no stone unturned, and it is just one of the best games I've ever played, obviously, and we enjoy it so very, very much. The production is wonderful. A nice thick game box, which I always appreciate, and Stonemaier Games does a nice job. And you get this dice tower that's a birdhouse and sits in here like that, and you have dice with food on them that you're going to roll down this dice tower. That's the food that's going to be available to players. And then you have all these beautiful eggs that you're going to be putting on your bird cards to score points at the end of the game, and then goal cards, you know, for end game goals. And then you also have all these beautiful bird cards. It's an engine building game. You're going to have a tableau of cards that you're going to play in different habitats in front of you depending on what habitat that bird wants. And what can I say? The game is absolutely phenomenal. It's beautiful. Thank you, Elizabeth Hargrave. I hope she turns out something close to this thing. This thing is absolutely incredible. I can't believe it was her first game she ever designed. That is just, I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. That is pretty amazing. And, you know, oh no, you don't get this. Nope. Laura's kind of tricked this game out with wooden food pieces that we got off some website. But because, you know, when we're going to keep a game, we kind of trick it out a little bit because this game's going nowhere except back to the table a whole bunch of times. And we love it so very much that we got different little components for it that didn't come in the game, but that's okay. We enjoy it. Yeah. And then let's see. Yeah, this is something that's in the game too. Yeah, you have 4 rounds and you have goal tiles that you're going to lay on here. That's another aspect of the game. When you satisfy those, you put your marker on here, and that helps you track the rounds also because you're getting rid of markers that you're going to use to take actions on your player board. So yeah, Elizabeth Hargrave's Wingspan. I just absolutely adore it. It is oh my gosh, I can't say enough about it. I think everything in this top 10 is very teachable. That would invite people to become part of this hobby, and Wingspan would certainly do that. And hey, you know what? It doesn't lack sales. I think it's doing very well. Okay, my number 1 game in my ultimate top 100. Guys, it's going to be Steffenfeld again, and it's called Carpe Diem. Came out in 2018 along with Forum Tres Janum, which is in my ultimate top 100. Further down the list. 2 to 4 players, tile placement, contract fulfillment, and Steffenfeld, again, is the best board game designer in the world. Lori and I play this game as often as we possibly can, and we can play it very quickly, and it's so wonderful. And the thing that makes it special for me is, again, Steffenfeld always puts something in his games that puts the pressure on you, that, you know, really puts the squeeze on you. And in this game, it starts immediately because you start the game, I think, with 8 points, something like that, and there's goal cards on the board, and you have to have completed 2 of those by the end of the first round or you lose points. So when you're selecting tiles from the market and you're putting them in your play area, which is a board that's surrounded by these puzzle pieces that give you other goals to work towards, but once you select tiles from that market, you have to, at the end of the round, have done so well that you complete 2 of those goal cards, because you lose 4 points for every one you don't complete. You have to do 2 of them, and so the pressure is on you immediately. Your first tile you're going to take from the market, you're thinking about which 2 cards am I going to complete. You know, I mean, I've only got so much time. I mean, it's very short. The rounds are very short. Again, we get this game done in 30 minutes, so the rounds are very short. But you are selecting those tiles, In a two-player game, once 2 tiles are missing out of one of the star segments, the other 2 go away. So you have to think about which tiles you're going to take to accomplish 2 of those goal cards. You're thinking about it the entire game. That's what drives this game, are those goal cards that you're trying to complete by the way that you play your tiles on your player board. Man, this game is fantastic. It doesn't get enough praise. Is Stefan Feld at his best? Again, I love Forum Trajanum, but that game it's an hour-plus affair. This is very quick, very crunchy, very meaty, and I'm in love with it. And that's Carpe Diem, and that's it for today's video, you guys. I'm sorry it took me so long to complete this, but as I say, we do some other things. I have a couple of videos coming up that I hope you find very interesting. They're going to be a little different than what I've been seeing on YouTube or whatever, and I want to get those out as soon as possible. And I promise to do that and work on that. I've already compiled the list. I just have to complete the video and shoot it. So yeah, I hope you're having fun in your board gaming life today. It's kind of cool here in Florida today. I think it's only about 68. I had to put on another shirt. Yeah, it's kind of chilly, but we're loving it. The sun's shining. It's beautiful. It's a great day to play board games. Thank you so much. First of all, I humbly thank you for subscribing, and I humbly thank you for taking the time to hit the like button when you watch our videos. It just helps us out so much. I love every one of you. God bless you. I'll see you next time on The Bones Collector. And please, please keep on board gaming. It is the best hobby on the planet. See you later. Bye-bye.